thank you all very much for joining us. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dan Hopkins. Welcome to everybody that's tuned in. And for many of you, I know this won't be the first event that you've dialed into. I appreciate that last week you'll have had the chance to see Richard Crawford Small tell us about his 6 rules for the new economy. And in the coming weeks, we've got some more great content to help to support businesses, focusing on getting you ready to deal with the hygiene and clinical treatment factors that you need to be thinking about in practice, as well as looking at how you can engage with digital content to make sure that your business is ready to really capture as many patients as possible. But this evening, I'm delighted to let you all know that we are joined by 2 very special guests who come to us from Glowday, and they are the co-founders and partners, Hannah and Joby Russell. So good evening, folks. A little bit about you first, if I might introduce you. So Hannah, prior to Glowday, actually was a secondary school science teacher. And not only that, but also she holds a master's in environmental science. And I'm pleased to say she's a real aesthetics enthusiast, which I think is what obviously brought her to our market, but also an ardent advocate for confidence boosting treatment. So I think safe to say that the aesthetics industry is something that she is and always has been passionate about, and decided bravely to leave the stable world of secondary school science teaching and take the leap into the aesthetics sector. And Joby, to her right, he was part of the founding team at Purple Bricks. So he was part of creating the biggest ever estate agent in the UK in, I think it was just 4 years, if I'm right. And at one point, I believe the value of Purple Bricks was over £1 billion. So, you know, Joby's been in the intermediary market for a number of years, because he also was one of the directors at the price comparison site Confused.com. And Glowday is something slightly different. You know, I find the concept to be both exciting and interesting. And I think really it's a marriage of bringing together educated and motivated consumers with qualified and reviewed professionals. So I suppose in simple terms, it might be described as being a little bit like the Airbnb of medical aesthetics. And in this evening's session, we're going to take a bit of a dive into Glowday, what it's all about, where it's come from, and where it's going to go. And most importantly, how it can help to really support you, our base of professional customers, to grow your practice and invest wisely in the systems and the processes that you introduce to your business. So good evening, Joby and Hannah. Thank you very much for joining us. And look, without further ado, I think maybe we should just dive in. I mean, I described Glowday as being a little bit like the Airbnb of medical aesthetics, or perhaps the Treatwell. But maybe you could tell us just a little bit more about some of the features that Glowday brings to the market, so that our practitioners can understand perhaps the benefits of the platform.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, first of all, Dan, thanks for the warm welcome. You were definitely on par with Victoria's intro last week.
I try. I don't want to let anybody down. I know she'll be watching and critiquing me. So yeah.
She's taught you well. You've done great. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Well, look, thanks for the warm introduction. I think the key thing in all of this really is Glowday is born out of being an aesthetics marketplace, and it isn't trying to be a intermediary or lead gen platform or booking platform for anything else other than aesthetics. You know, that's the key thing for us. And when we were building Glowday, 18 months ago, we started developing it. We always said it was going to be built for aesthetic practitioners, celebrating aesthetic practitioners, and making it really easy for consumers to go on that journey from starting to consider aesthetic treatments and researching it, through to finding a practitioner, really great practitioner, who can showcase their work on Glowday and then book a treatment with them.
Yeah, and I think we've gotten so used to platforms like that in other aspects of our lives, that when we kind of happened upon the idea, like we quickly jumped on Google, because we're like, surely this has been done, because it's so obvious. It's a no-brainer. Why isn't it already out there? And so very quickly we established that, yes, there were directories. Yes, you had Treatwell and other almost budget type lead gen places, but there was not one home for aesthetics. And so we quickly honed in on the idea that we wanted to kind of support the whole customer journey, from first finding out about treatments and researching and seeing what might be an appropriate treatment for you, through to the whole end of the cycle where you've had that treatment that you've had phenomenal results from, and you want to really raise the profile of the practitioner that you've grown to really love and respect, and is now part of your, you know, day-to-day and month-to-month beauty regime. So it was that whole, we just wanted a home, one home for all aesthetic practitioners.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have, you mentioned there, you know, lead generation platforms, customer journey, and, you know, the customer journey is a term that I think many people will be familiar with, and we all know that it can be very varied, but fundamentally I think we agree that customers are trying to achieve the same thing, which is a boost in their confidence through an improvement in their appearance or whatever that may be. But you also mentioned lead generation, and there are lots of different systems or platforms out there that I'm sure people will have engaged with in the past, or maybe individual consultants that will have supported them in terms of driving different lead generation campaigns, whether it be through social media or other activities. So what is it that makes Glowday different from some of the platforms that people have either used and given up on, or that they might feel that they're using successfully at the moment? What makes you guys special?
So I think what we established pretty early on is that the aesthetics industry is almost like an echo chamber, and you've got very big names within the industry who are hugely well respected, but that's still within the confines of the industry. And what the aesthetic industry currently hasn't done is broach that boundary where you're speaking to the public, and when you're talking about a superstar practitioner, generally the public have got no clue who they are, what they do. You know, I think for the vast majority of the public, lip fillers and Botox are synonymous with horrendous outcomes and people who've got overfilled faces.
Yeah.
And that association has stuck, and it's not going anywhere, and it's perpetuated by stories that we see in the red tops week in, week out about botched jobs. And I think what the public don't understand is that it's an unregulated industry, and that those outcomes are because of incompetent practitioners. What they do, the association that they do make is that these treatments give you negative outcomes. So for us, we are 100% about flipping that on its head.
Yep.
And actually, if you look at our advert that we've made, it contains the TV advert. It contains normal looking women who are doing normal everyday things that me, my friends, my mum friends, you know, my non-childbearing friends, the day-to-day things that we are doing, and it's drilling home that these treatments are for people like you.
Yeah, I think the aesthetics industry is from a purely business perspective. This is sort of where the bit I come into it, I guess. I mean, Hannah is an amazing advocate of this industry and has tremendous enthusiasm for it. And equally, through my research and building Glowday, I've become a tremendous fan of this market as well. But at its purest form, you look at the market and go, this is an incredible £3 billion UK market. But actually, it's edging towards becoming normalised in terms of beauty regimes. So if you can pull in a much bigger portion of the potential market, because actually it's becoming part of everyone's part of a normal beauty regime, actually everyone wins, particularly those who are listed on Glowday. And in doing so, you remove potentially the side of the market who haven't been doing the great jobs. And unfortunately, it's those people that appear in the red tops, and it's those people which, for some in the population, can challenge the impression of this industry. But actually, I think what I've discovered, just in its sort of purest form, is, you know, when we've done market research and we've spoken to people who've had awesome treatments from awesome practitioners, they have amazing levels of confidence and they've done a brilliant job. And why isn't there a single platform which allows practitioners who operate like that to be celebrated? We've got amazing reviews, brilliant before and after photos, and can grow their local profile and reputation. And that's how Glowday will build the reputation of awesome practitioners.
Yeah.
And in doing so, raise the whole standards within the industry, whilst it's completely unregulated.
Yeah, and do you know, I love that. I mean, I've been knocking around this industry for a little while, and I think that, you know, once you get in and under the skin, pun not necessarily intended, of the aesthetic sector, I think it's very easy to see that actually practitioners themselves are doing brilliant things to bring a huge amount of value to people's lives, and they are normal people. And I think you're right that sometimes those negative external perceptions that people will latch onto are preventing other normal people from accessing great outcomes with brilliant practitioners.
And I know from my perspective, so I am not what would be deemed atypical, you know, a person who has fillers and Botox. You know, and I've been at the school gates with mums who have gone, oh God, I would never put that stuff in my face. Of course you don't either.
Yeah.
And oh yes.
Yeah, listen, I've been in that same situation for a long time when people say, well, you wouldn't have any treatments. I said, well, try and stop me, you know. And I just think that you're absolutely right. Once you get people just over the threshold, and they get over that anxiety around, you know, what they may or may not be letting themselves in for, they can achieve some incredible results. And I think, you know, what I take away from your answer to that question is that it's about lowering that threshold and giving people almost a window to the industry before they have to make that commitment.
And I think it's my journey into the industry as a consumer that's opened our eyes to a lot of things that like if you go to buy a car, you know how much that car is going to cost. You know the spec of that car. You know the ongoing running costs. You go into aesthetics, you've got no idea. So after my first Botox treatment, I had it in Sydney, and I think it must have been about £380 UK equivalent. And then I said another 12 weeks later, oh, I'm going back for more. And at this point, I was like, oh, but this is an investment.
Yeah.
Did you realize? I was like, well, no, not really. So I think if we can be open and upfront and honest and explain to people who are thinking about these treatments, it's a long-term investment. You know, once you've opened that door and once you've opened Pandora's box, she's not going back in.
Yeah.
You're in for the long haul. But actually, how you feel about yourself and how you conduct yourself can be completely switched because of these treatments.
Yeah. You know, we before we started investing lots of money into Glowday, we hired a little meeting room in a Bristol hotel, and we were talking to consumers who had either had a treatment or were thinking of having a treatment. And there was one lady said she got into having treatments as a result of Snapchat, and she sort of had the smooth face filter and went, I'm gonna try this out. So she tried it out, and then she said, you know what? Once I'd done it once, I went again, and then by the time you're in it, you're sort of in it. And that's sort of when the penny dropped with me a bit. I was like, crikey, if we can create a platform for clinics to introduce people like this lady, which if she's given great treatments and the service is awesome within that clinic, then you're introducing someone who's potentially a lifetime customer worth potentially a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think that was the other critical thing for us, is that I think I'm probably a typical client where, first of all, I had Botox, and then I'm sitting in that chair going, but you know, what else has been really bothering me is the fact that I've got a deviated septum, and you can do liquid rhinoplasty. Can you sort my nose as well?
Yeah.
Oh, right. And I've got large pores, so can you do me a chemical fix? So all of these treatments. So I went in for Botox, and actually, Rasheen in Abergavenny now, I'm back there every 3-4 months having something done.
Best customer.
And that's it. And I suppose it's about bringing that moment of trust a little bit closer to the consumer, because once you trust, that's, as you say, you're in. Although I'm surprised. I mean, Sydney is a long way to travel, just so your friends don't find out, Hannah. So I think you could have probably started a bit closer.
To save myself some money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it definitely did tell us, though, that the UK isn't unique, and actually this exists in all sorts of places.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is an emotional journey that people are going on, and effectively that's the outcome that they're trying to reach. And so, look, I agree, and it's great to find a platform that is driving growth within the sector commercially, but with the consumer and the practitioner in mind, rather than just working on behalf of one party before and ahead of the other.
Yeah, we
just can't do that.
Central to our premise is that what we do has to benefit practitioners. Whenever we've talked about pricing, what we do cannot be punitive.
Yeah.
We are reliant on practitioners loving our product and us introducing them to really great clients. If we don't do that, then nobody wins.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, obviously you went on a bit of an aesthetic journey. You started having some treatments, you got the bug, and you found that trust. But you know, you've gone from that point in time being an enthusiast and accepting the industry for the great things that it can do, to saying, do you know what, I'm going to pack everything in and I'm just going to jump. I'm going to leave my stable life and I'm going to go headlong into trying to build something in aesthetics. What was the moment for you that you thought, yeah, we've got an idea here, and I'm just going to pack up my career and I'm going to start again with Glowday?
Well, for a long time, it was just, we were just telling each other it was a brilliant idea. So I'd be...
You were trying to book a treatment. You were trying to book a treatment, weren't you? And it was difficult.
So first of all, it was the research phase. The research phase that I took was forever. Like maybe 2 years, I'd reckon. Yeah. From first Googling Botox for my 11s to actually having it was 2 years. And then when we came back from Sydney, so I'd found my practitioner out there, came back from Sydney, I was in the same position. I had to find my practitioner. And over here, it's even less regulated than over in Australia. So I was like, oh God, who the hell do I see? Rang around a few places locally, and I've got 2 young kids, so all of my admin gets done in the evenings when they're sleeping. And it just became really apparent that actually pinning down an appointment time was perhaps the hardest thing of all.
Yeah.
So the very first initial idea was, wouldn't it be great if you could book, like you can do on booking.com, you could book your time. You've had open access to their diaries, and that was it. And then it kind of snowballed from there, where we were just like, actually, what it needs is that education piece. So we need a really rich content platform.
And we need to become a publisher.
We need to publish loads of articles so that people like me can just go to Glowday and find out about a whole range of treatment.
Yeah.
So just step by step, we were like, oh no, but it needs to do this. And it needs to, and to benefit practitioners, it needs to do X. And we need reviews, because I don't trust what's written in Facebook, because it could be friends or family who are writing it.
Yeah.
And we kind of validated all of the questions and queries that we had about the industry and what the pitfalls were. It was kind of validated in that session that we had, where we just questioned 10 practitioners, 10 clients, and got a really good view of and then what we needed.
And then since then, it's probably just a case of talking to. We've probably got a cluster of 100 clinics at the moment, 150 clinics maybe, who are part of our community on Glowday, who we talk to try and refine the idea now.
Yeah.
So, even a few months ago, we'd fixed our pricing at a flat fee, and that became clear through talking to clinics that that's just not going to work out.
Well, they were just like, oh, we'll find ways of not paying it, and we're like, well, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So we
went. What are you we can find a place where.
That happened the first time I spoke to Joby about the platform. It was, well, how would I find a way to kind of circumvent this? And often that's the trouble sometimes, is that, maybe when people don't see the value, their first instinct is, well, how do I get around this, or how do I get under this? And,
But it's for us to provide that value.
Correct. Yeah.
If you want to shop at Waitrose, you're getting a value at Waitrose that you might not get at Aldi. And
yeah,
absolutely.
Business to provide that value. And
so it kind of, so we've got the background, the story, the idea, and then you thought, right, we're going to do this. And I think, obviously, Joby, you've come from different markets, whether it be the property sector or the price comparison sector in the intermediary or the agents market. But, there's one thing that any business needs, such as this, to be, quickly scalable and ready to bring value to people. And that's investment, right?
Yeah.
I understand that you guys have found a reason to celebrate this week, because if I'm not wrong, you've raised £4 million this week of investment into Glowday.
Yeah.
So congratulations. Well,
thank you.
Now I've got a selfish question on behalf of my business and our customers, which is, how is that £4 million going to help them? Because you are producing something that's going to serve the market. So how does that investment really bring value to Glowday that then will help to accelerate growth for aesthetic clinics?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah,
okay, so I think there's probably three things really. we'll start with well, why do you need all this? And to build something specific from a technology perspective, which is going to serve clinics and practitioners, and isn't just generic software, has got to be built from the ground up. So if you're talking to practitioners and clinics and they're saying, but it's got to do X and it's got to do Y, all of those things have to be built. And building technology isn't cheap. Yeah. And so building an awesome product is the first thing. And we'll get on to when we're launching a little bit later on, but building technology, crucial. And making sure that when clinics are using our app and bookings are coming in and they're dropping them into diaries, that it's not difficult and it's not tricky and it's really intuitive. So that's that. And then there's just creating a team to service the clinics and practitioners. So who's going to be on live chat and who's going to be the account managers and who's there to answer the questions throughout the day and into the evening. And then crucially, and where the big requirement comes from a capital perspective, is driving leads. And this is the big marketing play. And you know, if you look at markets where there are big intermediaries already, like takeaways and taxis, Ubers and Just Eats, and compare the markets, these require substantial marketing efforts to drive leads, which then find their way into clinics and practitioners, and they can then convert into treatments. And that's where this initial amount of money's been raised. And I think Hannah and I realised that this probably isn't the end as well, actually. Glowday will need a lot more over time, but this is just about, look, let's get it live, let's start servicing the market, let's start providing leads through the TV adverts or through social media adverts, and then we just grow it and expand it. And you know, big successful clinics can use the leads to expand out their offering, and smaller clinics and new practitioners can use it to pick up leads which are probably much cheaper than trying to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And that was the success we had in price comparison in the early days, was we could find customers a lot cheaper than the insurance companies could find customers. And that's really it. I think that's where the money's going.
Basically, TV is very, 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 very expensive.
Yes.
Yes.
So if we wanted to go on TV, we needed to raise a shit ton of cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And look, I suppose, you know, what you might take away from that, and I don't want to set you up too easily for a shameless sell, but you talked about your go live date. And I suppose at this moment in time, you've got a product which clearly is at a point in its development whereby it's proven concepts such that it can attract a significant seed fund, which is an incredible platform to move forward. And at the moment, you mentioned 100 or so customers. That value is being split 100 ways. Now, when you go live, you've clearly got the opportunity to cut that cake even further and bring more people into the Glowday family and you know, really drive that value further into the market, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing about building marketplaces. You've got to try and balance your supply of clinics and practitioners with all the demand you can create.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
And that'll be constant for us. That's like a constant thing of build the community of practitioners and clinics and find them new customers and do the two in equilibrium with each other. And at the moment, it's build the supply of practitioners to allow us to then turn on the demand and drive the leads into the clinics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of that demand and the expense of TV advertising, for anyone that's visited your website, they will have probably seen your TV advertisement. And Hannah, you mentioned before, obviously, it's an advert that represents normal people seeking consistently the same outcome. Mm-hmm. And people might think actually that's not the external public perception of what an aesthetic client looks like. So what was the thinking behind that? How did that concept all come together?
So we engaged with this amazing director who, in the first call we had with her, just got it. So she was in Peru at the time, I think she was in Peru or somewhere like that. Yeah, and she does work for Nivea, Dove, H&M. And so we looked at her show reel and she had the kind of aesthetic that we wanted for Glowday. So from the very, very start, we've been very much sure that our target market are 30-plus-year-old women. We're not going for young girls who are after trends. We want, basically older women who are just wanting to look and feel really great. And straight away she got it. She said, basically, you're advertising treatments for people like me, people who don't have treatments. And it was like, yes, that's exactly it. We're trying to show people that actually there's no stigma with having these treatments. It's a natural, nobody criticizes you for going to the gym or getting your hair highlighted or getting your nails done. And this is just one other thing that you can add to that already phenomenal recipe that you've got to make yourself feel great.
Yeah.
So, and that was it really. It was basically, I'm making a product for me. Yeah. What I want to see. Yeah, and that's it seems to have resonated with lots and lots of other women.
Because, when we've shown people the TV advert initially, there's almost a bit of surprise that it doesn't feel like Love Island. It's like, surely you built this for Love Island, right? There's like a load of cash potentially there for you to hook onto trends and stuff. And we said, actually, that's not the brand we want to build. We want to build a sustainable brand which celebrates great practitioners who deliver awesome treatments. And also we were ethically, it didn't feel right to us.
Yeah.
So there's certain safeguards we've put in place around the age of the people in the TV adverts, that audiences were marketing to.
And actually, from a business perspective, when we've then spoken to practitioners, they'll say, it's the older women, once they find you and you do great work for them, they come back and they come back and they come back and they spend more and more and more. She said, whereas younger trend-based clients are quite flighty and they'll go for as cheapest. So
absolutely. And again, when I first learned about the platform and we had a discussion, I sort of said that one of the bugbears that I had always kind of carried from my past, and when I'd done some consulting work with medical aesthetic practices, was that there often isn't a huge amount of longevity in lead generation. It can be individuals that are activated solely because there is an offer available, or solely because there is a very transactional interaction with the clinic. And that's great because it gets a bum on a seat, but actually it's not one that's going to come back and stick around. And so, it's getting those educated, motivated clients that potentially offer some lifetime value for your business.
Yeah, and
it's worthwhile.
100%.
It's more the clients who are looking for treatment plans rather than a treatment.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that we noticed was that, again, they go for a variety of treatments rather than just one that they've booked.
Yeah.
So
we were talking to this one clinic during research, and he had a place off Harley Street, and he was promoting himself at the time on Voucher. And I was like, so this is a decent clinic, proper stuff, expensive, and he's on Voucher. Mm-hmm. And it really surprised, like that clearly must be because there just isn't a home, right? So he's found Voucher. And then the other feedback we had was platforms like Treatwell have me competing on price against people who potentially aren't insured, and so they can lowball the price. And so we went, actually, no, we've got to be really careful here that there's a parity in terms of quality, which means when it comes to price, everyone's sort of in the same ballpark. And so it probably then comes down to location, reviews, and the sort of work people want.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
I think one other thing that in the constant race for new clients, what often doesn't happen is you're not retaining your existing clients. And I think clinics are so busy trying to get more business, grow and grow and grow. They probably haven't got the time or the kit to reserve and get their existing clients back in. So that's one thing we've built into our treatment menus. When I was drafting all of the treatments, I've put a maximum and minimum time as to when we as Glowday should be messaging that client back to say, hey, your Botox was 16 weeks ago. Do you
absolutely
come back in? So not only are we really well positioned to gain you new clients through our marketing and re-educating the general public, but the intention is that once you've got that client, we'll help you keep that client.
Yeah.
And I think we all know retention is king, right? Every aesthetic practitioner out there, I think, sometimes we forget that every new patient that we acquire has a cost attached to them.
Yeah.
And looking back at all of the efforts that we've driven into bringing new people into our practice, everyone has a cost of acquisition attached. And you almost have to scratch that off their first treatment because they may not come back. However, the more that you serve them, the longer you retain them, and the better you can build out their treatment plans, you dilute that acquisition cost against 5, 10 or 15 treatment events over 3 years, and you've got a much more profitable acquisition for your business. So, I agree. And I think that, speaking of quality practices and speaking of good plans, I speak now on behalf of the Illumier community. I know that many of the businesses that we work with are now furiously busy in terms of preparing to kind of emerge from the hibernation that they've all been forced into. And I know that over the last several weeks and months, there's been a real transition into digital activities and remote activities to engage with patients, but we're getting ready now to come back to some form of physical practice. And there's a lot of stuff to consider. But one of the things that we hear from a lot of practices is that actually I've had such a prolonged period of absence, and my patient base has had such a prolonged period of absence from the physical treatments that I can offer, that actually I've got a queue of people now that I need to try and bring back into my business. And I'm conscious.
There, we're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Hello, Dan.
Sorry, folks, I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Got you, yeah.
Oh, well, that was awkward, wasn't it?
You were
I'm not sure if we were on or you were on.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. I had a temporary freeze, but I'm back. I forget where I was up to, but I was sort of saying that, I'm conscious that many clinics will be worried about their capacity because of all of the new measures that they've got to work with. So, maybe one of the things they might say to you is, well, look, lead generation sounds great, but actually right now, why do I need more patients? Because I've got to deal with the ones that have been waiting for me. So what would your response to that be, to say, actually, you do need a service that drives new clients to your business? Why is that important?
Do you want to take this?
Well, I think there's two things really. The first thing is building a profile on Glowday allows you to service existing clients through it as well. So if you ask your existing clients to book through Glowday, or if someone phones up the clinic and you put them into the Glowday diary, we can seek card authorization from that particular client, and then you can debit the card through the platform once the treatment's taken place.
So the whole cashless thing that we need to be implemented in clinics moving forward, contactless payments, we've literally this week just added that straight into our platform, so that anyone you drop into our diaries, we can take contactless payment for them.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. That's
the first thing. The more important point, I think, is if you're going to be, like all businesses, you're really interested in new clients, finding new clients, and it might not be this month, it might not be next month, but it will certainly be the case by the time we get to August and September, is if you can put your existing clients through Glowday, for which there's no fee, you start receiving the most amazing reviews, and you start receiving the most amazing before and after photos.
Because I can confirm that there will be no better before and after photo than someone coming out of lockdown.
Yeah, 100%. So before you know it, when you do need the new clients, your profile
is looking amazing.
Looks in great shape, because all of your existing clients who are delighted to see you have left these superb reviews. The before and after photos on your profile look really, really great. And so by the time you're at a point where you're going, actually, I want to take another person on, or it's just got a little bit quiet because the wait list has come to an end, your profile will look absolutely stellar on Glowday.
So basically, you're investing time now. Well, not even time. It takes about 40 minutes to build your Glowday profile. We are free for the first 60 days if you join before July. And then as soon as we go live, you can pop some of your clients, pop all of them through Glowday. We automatically collect the reviews. The before and after photos are automatically served and populate your profile. And so in the winter, when someone's looking for some Botox or fillers, they can look in their area, and then you will come up with a really nice, plump, beautiful looking profile.
Yeah. Absolutely. All looking for a chemical peel, of course.
Chemical peel.
Yeah.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Some medical grade skincare.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, I think that's right. I think so many practices, because we know it's lonely in aesthetics. You as an owner operator within the aesthetics market, you can become trapped in your own existence, and sometimes it's difficult to find opportunity to focus on all of the things that you need to focus on. And that's why communities like our professional Facebook forum, I think, are really valuable to help people to share and learn from one another. But I think sometimes it's dangerous to try and convince people to spin too many plates at once. But if you're not focusing on a continual stream of generated, motivated leads, then there will come a point whereby you'll think, oh, now I need to deal with that, and you'll have to sacrifice something else in order to focus on lead generation. So I think, the idea that there is a platform that can be working in the background to be driving your profile, building your presence, and generating some interest, I think that, given that it's free to drive those patients over there in the time being as well, is, what an opportunity to start to build some of that equity in the market when it comes to, being featured on Glowday.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, you talked about in that the contactless element of collecting payment, and that's obviously a benefit that I think people are going to need to be conscious of that process post COVID and when they reopen and they're under new and stricter measures in terms of operating the practice. But what else within the features of the platform, aside from that contactless element, does Glowday offer to practices that's going to help them to operate effectively in that new environment?
I think there's a few things really. The main one, I guess, is the fact that you're not handling cash, you're not handling chip and pin machines, because, for the most part, the £45 limit on them isn't going to cover aesthetic clinics. So taking those appointments and having them transact through Glowday means no cash is being handled. The other thing, of course, is you don't really want walk-ins and people just wandering in off the street either. So you want those bookings and appointments scheduled, which is something Glowday can facilitate digitally. And then I think you also want to prepare your clients for the fact that when they arrive at clinic, it isn't going to be quite like it was pre-COVID, and it's going to feel more surgical, a bit more sterile, a bit less beauty. And something Glowday can do is message that through the booking confirmation emails, through the booking reminder emails. So one, they're not arriving at the clinic with friends and family or kids in tow. They're not getting there 20 minutes early to read Grazia magazine and have a chat. And it's doing our small thing, I guess, in helping manage the clinic more efficiently at a time when clinics do need to operate efficiently, given
the fact that they can see fewer people per day.
They can see fewer people per day. There's extra cost involved in post-COVID as well. And it's just going to be a slightly more challenging environment for the coming months after the 6th of July.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, before we kind of take all of that and talk to people about how they sign up and what the date for your go live is, we've got a couple of questions, if you wouldn't mind just helping us to answer those. So I'm going to just dive in here and have a look. So Karen's asked the question, we already use booking review platforms. So why would we want to duplicate that? Or maybe if you could explain what the benefit of Glowday and that review presence would be if individuals are using other platforms.
What we found when we were doing our research is that not all potential clients value all reviews. So real self-reviews, Google reviews, Facebook reviews, often they didn't put much trust in them, for lack of a better word. And I think when we were building Glowday, we wanted a ring-fenced system where we knew that review is reviewing that treatment with that practitioner, and it's completely watertight.
Yeah, so when someone books through Glowday and a treatment has occurred through Glowday, an automated review request is sent by Glowday, and you can't leave a review on Glowday unless you've transacted through the platform. So it's a bit like Airbnb in that respect. You can't just leave a review on Airbnb. It's got to be left by someone who has stayed in that particular property. And it's the same with Glowday. And that'll be a virtue of ours that we'll communicate to the public, which is, if you're going to look at any reviews, look at those that are left on Glowday, because you can be sure they've been left by people who actually had a treatment at that clinic with that practitioner.
Yeah. And in addition to that, we serve the review alongside the before and after photos. So you get a more holistic view of, are those the types of lips that I want? Are those fillers that I want? Is that that girl's got acne similar to mine? So it's a more holistic view of the practitioner and what they deliver.
I think it's not to stop people leaving reviews anywhere else either. Like you can leave on Facebook and Google and Trustpilot or wherever. But Glowday, through its TV advertising, social media advertising, will be the place where consumers go to look at these sorts of things. And so being present and having a volume of quality content on there just puts you in a great position.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you. And so we also have a question from Margaret, and she asked, if we send our clients through to you, do you take a percentage?
No. So if you had telephone bookings, direct messenger bookings, and you put them in the Glowday diary, and then it automatically requests payment, we don't take any commission whatsoever from those clients. If an existing client of yours comes through the glowday.com platform and books, then we'll take 2% on that treatment cost, because the 2% goes towards paying for the email reminders, the text reminders, standing up the software. So we don't really want to make on clients' existing customer base, because it's just not fair, because the clinic has invested time in the marketing, they've invested time in the relationship. We just need to make sure that we can cover our cost in servicing that. Where we make our money is in the finding new client bit. You know, that's where the expense is, and that's where, if we're going to keep firing up the market, keep generating new leads, you know, we've got to earn our bit of the commission to do that. And then really it's in the hands of the clinic to go, oh, I'm going to take that lead, I'll convert it into a treatment, and they'll be a lifelong customer.
Okay, excellent. So we've had another question here as well, and I think, well, in fact, there are two questions that link together. So there's one here that asks, is Glowday a CRM system as well? But I think linked to that, there is another question which says, you know, we need to link it to our existing systems. So what's your view of how Glowday works, either as a complement to or as a replacement for existing potential software systems that currently sit out in the market at the moment?
So currently Glowday is basically marketplace and scheduling. So the phase one of Glowday is that we build a really great marketing channel. We allow customers to find great practitioners, and we provide the booking functionality for those practitioners as well. We don't currently integrate with existing systems. We have struggled to get in touch with them in the first instance. So because we've struggled to get in touch with existing platforms, we've decided that phase two of Glowday is we're building the paperless product. So phase one is marketplace and booking. Phase two will be a paperless product. Phase three will be our CRM, newsletter, all of that. So the long-term plan within the next 12 to 18 months is you will only need one thing to run your clinic, and that will be Glowday.
Yeah, and in the
funding rounds.
Oh yes,
that's why
yes.
we need the money.
Yeah, you need to put your hand down the back of your sofa, Dan, and join us.
And interestingly, that links to another question that we have here as well, which I will answer, is what is the tie-up with Illumia? And that's, you know, it's a fair question, because obviously we're sat here talking to you know, our customer base, and we are, you know, presenting Glowday to our customers. And look, you know, I can say to all of the Illumia professionals that there is no tie-up between Illumia and Glowday. You know, we as a brand want to be able to give our professionals all and every opportunity to find platforms, services and business support that could potentially bring benefit to their clinic business. And, you know, as I said, we're running a series of events with an expert panel over the course of this month, one last week and a couple more to come, focusing on different topics for readying clinics for business. And, you know, from our perspective, I think sometimes it's just great for businesses that have a like-minded approach to be able to let people see what's out there in the market. So from our perspective, there's no tie-up. I just felt that it was a great opportunity really for our base to be able to see what Glowday are all about, and to try and connect you guys. And if you want to pick up the phone and have a chat to Glowday, then crack on and do it.
Yeah.
No, and I will say from our perspective, I've personally reached out to a lot of other brands, because part of what we want to create is a really transparent, open and unbiased information resource. And basically the people who have gotten back to us are the people that we talk to.
Yeah. And Illumier have been great. We get, you know, one of the clinics who we use to help shape our product development
has recently adopted Illumier.
Has adopted Illumier and stockist of Illumier. And we've just had just really good conversations with Illumier people as well. So we're just really grateful for the opportunity, Dan.
Good. Well, look, and you know, as I say, if there's an opportunity for us to connect any of our professionals to a system that's going to bring them value, then that's what we want to do. So now on to the nitty gritty. How, when, and how much to sign up to Glowday?
Well, the first thing is we'll deal with the cost straight away, and it's completely free to sign up. There's no subscription and there's zero commitment. The only commitment you need to make is about half an hour of your time to build a profile on the platform and then start to receive leads from us. Then the way the commission element then works is we don't get paid until a treatment is conducted. So we're not one of these lead gen platforms that just like throws leads over a fence and you've got to sift through it trying to find someone. It goes into a diary. If that's not a convenient time and date for you, clearly you can move that, phone up the customer and move it, conduct the treatment. And on a new client, first time treatment, it's 30% commission, but then it falls down to 2% if it's an existing client who's used the technology, or for telephone bookings, DMs, or a walk-in, it's 0%. And it's really as simple as that. So it's one of those that
it costs you nothing to join.
Really does. It costs absolutely nothing to join, because we wanted to make it completely fair to everyone. And we just discovered through research that there's already quite a lot of subscriptions in this market. And we just thought, actually, it's pay as you go, really, with Glowday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that, you know, it's interesting. And as you said before, you make your money on the effectively the cost of the introduction of an active client. And, you know, as we discussed earlier, the cost of acquisition of patients within the aesthetic sector is often something that gets lost and is misunderstood. And I think that, you know, having that at least clarity over how that process works is really valuable, and it's not tied into a subscription and it's not rolled up into a rebate or any other complicated payment scheme. It is what it is, as you say, pay as you go.
Yeah.
So how do practices actually then sign up to Glowday? What if somebody's sat at home now thinking, okay, I'm interested, I want to talk to these guys and see what they've got to offer? What's the process that they need to follow?
It's dead easy. So it's almost like building a profile on Facebook or LinkedIn. It takes about half an hour. You just have to consider it as creating a shop front on Glowday. So we ask for photos and treatment menu. We ask for photo ID so we can verify you, and medical PIN, and we verify that as well. And then you receive a verification and welcome call from one of our team. If you're struggling at any point, there's live chat on the site throughout, and someone will get back to you instantly, or contact us on Instagram,
we'll
on
get
Facebook.
Chat on Instagram to get a hand all the way through.
Absolutely. Or just contact me or Han on Instagram and we can help you out. And that happens all the time as well. But for those people who are really tech savvy, we've seen people sign up within 15 minutes and then their profile's loaded up, ready to go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You just go on glowday.com and then you'll see a little yellow orange button, which says list your clinic. Click on that, you register, and then 40 odd minutes later, you're ready to go.
Yeah, and we heard, a whole load of clinics were saying, look, we're going to be really busy when we launch back from 6th of July. So on that basis, we said, well, you can have the first 60 days free of charge on Glowday. You know, if you're going to be busy anyway with existing clients, if you sign up before the 1st of July, you can essentially have 2 months free of charge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And, you know, a question or two that have come through. For whom is Glowday applicable? Who can sign up?
Currently, doctors, dentists, nurses.
Okay.
So we verify against a GMC, GDC, or NMC PIN.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. And is that, you know, again, as we look at how practices work and how practices are structured, is there any discussion or thought around whether or not that might shift or change in the future, or is that not yet part of plans?
We are, every week, we get maybe 10 emails from other healthcare professionals. And so when we're back up and running, we will take all of those queries to our advisory board. and come to some kind of consensus. I think that's the difficulty is in an industry which is so poorly regulated, is ensuring customer safety in the fairest way possible.
Yeah.
I think we constantly try to veer away from the politics and the protectionism which dictate who can and can't practice. And for now, the line in the sand is doctor, dentist, nurse. But whether that's the line in the sand forever, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
Honesty,
we don't know yet. It's it comes down to accountability, client safety, reputation management, and if we can find a way of ensuring those things are satisfied, then we have that discussion about can we open it out further.
Yep.
What we can't, if Glowday are advertising during Coronation Street, at some point in the future, and we have someone who isn't sensational treating, and there's a problem, what we can't have is an article in the Sun newspaper saying I booked through Glowday, it's meant to be patients X, Y, and Z, and it wasn't great, and it's about protecting the community on Glowday, but what we don't want to do, equally want to be absolutely fair. So if we can find a way, we will find a way. And it's in our interest to do that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. And thank you for that. So I suppose then one final question is when's deadline day? When is the actual go live date for Glowday?
Well, at the moment, it's the 29th of June. So a week or so prior to clinics reopening, so they could start to put bookings through the platform. The special offer of 60 days free concludes on the 1st of July. So our intention is 29th of June, unless we discover a real showstopper, which we don't think we will. So 29th is most certainly the plan, there or thereabouts.
Excellent. Okay, great. Well, thank you guys. I really think this. It's been great to learn a bit more about the platform. It's been great to understand a little bit more about where you think it's really going to fit and drive value for aesthetic practices. Is there anything else that you feel I haven't managed to push you on that you want to share with everybody before we go?
Not at all. I mean, all I would say is, if you've enjoyed the conversation, visit our Instagram or visit the website to find out more. There's no hard sell from us. No. And if you just want a conversation, let's have a chat about it as well. Love to meet new people and new clinics. So that's the sort of culture and community we're trying to build, really.
Yeah.
Excellent. And us too. And so, on that note, and from me, obviously, to everybody that's dialed in, again, thank you. As we said before, we're working over the course of this month to try and bring experts from the sector and individuals that are creating platforms and services that can help to support your business to you through this live stream. So I'd encourage you to keep your eyes out and tune into the next sessions. Also stay posted for our newsletters, any information that comes through our professional forum or our Instagram. Equally, the Illumia Online Education Academy is available for you guys, and I believe that today's session will be posted in our resources section in the next 24 hours or so, depending on how capably I can wrap a recording up and get it sent to
the right button.
Somebody to get it done. I'll try and press the right button. But in the meantime, I suppose all that leaves is for me to say thank you to everybody for joining us. I hope the next few weeks of getting yourselves ready to get back to some sort of normality goes well. And to Joby and Hannah, thank you for everything you've shared with us. And from me, best of luck.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm looking forward to, although I don't watch Coronation Street, I'm looking forward to seeing Glowday out there and seeing the change that you can make in the market.
Great. Thank you, Dan. And congratulations with Illumia.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.
Bye.
Take care. All the best.